McCall is a renowned speaker, teacher, and coach in the field of leadership. He serves as the president of Maxwell Leadership Enterprise, Atlanta, a part of the John Maxwell Company, which provides training and coaching programs for businesses, organizations, and individuals to help them reach their leadership potential. Cole has over 25 years of experience in leadership development, having worked with several Fortune 500 companies and non-profit organizations. In addition to his work with Maxwell Leadership Enterprise, Cole is also a sought-after speaker and has delivered keynote speeches at various conferences and events worldwide. He is known for his engaging and impactful presentations that inspire audiences to excel in their personal and professional lives. Cole has also co-authored several books with John C. Maxwell, including The 5 Levels of Leadership, The Power of Significance, and Leadership Shift. Is committed to supporting leaders in their growth and development and has a passion for helping individuals and organizations reach their full potential. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise up on your feet as you give McCall the Advanced 2023 welcome. With a loud applause, please make welcome McCall.
Jamming the beats, jamming the beats, jamming the beats.
Slow down on the love thing. Well, I've got to tell you, if you're a friend of Bissy Akande, when he asked me to come and be a part of Advanced Leadership Conference, I said yes. Because any friend of Bissy, any friend of Maxwell Leadership, somebody that's sitting in this event today ready to learn, to grow, to improve, you're my people. You're my kind of person. And so I love you. I'm honored to be with you today. All day I have been preparing and thinking and really, to be honest with you, wishing I could be in the room with you. Not just for this session, but for the entire day. See, today as we study about living well and leading well, you're speaking to something that I've given my heart to, my life to. I believe this concept of living well, which leads to leading well, all goes back to my journey with John Maxwell. See, when I was 17 years of age, I read my first Maxwell book. And John's book, Developing the Leader Within You, gave me permission to lead. Now, I've got to be honest with you, when I read the book, Developing the Leader Within You, which gives you a pathway to live well so you can lead well, I stopped focusing on my internal growth and I started focusing on my external advancement. Is anybody with me? You were more focused in what people thought about your leadership than how well you led from the inside out. And as I began that journey for 10 years, I focused more on external performance than internal, really, qualities and character. And I found a leadership wreck at 30 years of age. And it was at 30 when I joined John Maxwell's team. I was broke emotionally. I was broke financially. I was broke relationally. I was broke spiritually, and I had one commitment. I never want to lead again. The reason is because I didn't focus on living well so I could lead well. So when I come to you today, wishing I was with you, Bissy, wishing I was with you, Advanced Leadership Conference, I come to you with a passion deep within me to help you live well, to help you lead well, and help you do leadership in a way that inspires others to lead well as well. I've been privileged the last 13 years, almost 14 now, to be the CEO of John Maxwell's companies here at Maxwell Leadership. About 3.5 years ago, I was given the privilege of carrying the baton of John Maxwell further into the future. I now ask questions like, what would this leadership decision matter 70 years from now? How will this leadership decision outlive my leadership position? Now, if I could leave you one thing today, I would leave you with that question. How does this leadership decision outlive my leadership position? Because you see, to live well and lead well, you've got to lead with a bigger than you mentality. You've got to lead with a belief that your leadership opportunity is more for others than it is for you. To outlive your leadership position, you've got to think about success for significance, not success in place of significance. See, every bit of success you and I have experienced should be with the realization that that success is for the significance of others. That's what servant leadership, values-based leadership really is all about. Today I can talk to you about leading well because I have been led well. I say it often, I can lead well today because I was led well yesterday. I hope that's true for you. But for some of you, you have no generational blessing of leadership done well. You are the beginning. That's okay, because today you and I, me in the United States, you in Africa, we have the ability to show the globe what leadership done well is all about. I was at a leadership retreat at the end of 2020 as we were beginning to go into 2021. You remember, COVID was a global pandemic. Life was really challenging at that time, and I found myself leading a team through a lot of uncertainty. The type of uncertainty that paralyzes most and inspires some. The uncertainty that says, if everything was certain, I wouldn't have a leadership position, because people need leaders because of uncertainty. They don't know how to go, they don't know how to provide, they don't know how to accomplish, and they need you and me to lead well. We were sitting in this retreat, and a friend of mine, one of the leaders on our team, looked at me and asked the question, Mark Cole, why does Maxwell Leadership exist? And I thought, and I said, well, to carry the baton of John Maxwell. He said, that's good, but that's not enough. He said, why does Maxwell Leadership exist? And I scratched my head and really dug deep to answer the question all of us organizational leaders need to ask. Why does my organization exist? As I began to answer that question, I asked myself a follow-up question. Why do I lead? I would stop for a moment and ask you the question. Why do you lead? Why do you want to lead? Why are you sitting here today at the Advanced Leadership Conference? Why were you intrigued with Live Well, Lead Well? What was it about Bissie's opportunity for this conference that was given you that drove you to make the decision and come here? Why do you lead? As we began to discuss that day, why do we lead at an individual level? Why does Maxwell Leadership exist? Why does our organization need to outlive us? We resolved with one foundational statement, and it's this. We lead because everyone deserves to be led well. I lead today. I'm doing this talk with you today. I'm joining you in spirit. I wish I was in person. I'm joining you in spirit today at Advanced Leadership Conference. Why? For one reason. Everyone in Nigeria, everyone in Africa, everyone in America, everyone around the globe deserves to be led well. John Maxwell says it, and he says it best. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything that is led well creates a leading well of the people around you. Everything that is led poorly leads to the people around you being led poorly. Everything rises and falls on leadership. At the end of 2022, Sarah Bradley did a study on why so many people were leaving their workplace. In fact, in November of 2021, there were 4.5 million Americans that resigned from their job in 1 month. November, 4.5 million Americans resigned from their job. Not laid off, not were asked to leave. They voluntarily retired, resigned, quit their job. Sarah Bradley did a study and found out that 82% of Americans, perhaps this is true in Nigeria as well, 82% of Americans considered leaving their job because of leaders in the organization. God, that. We have an epidemic. There is so much uncertainty. People are leaving their jobs in what has now been called the great escape, the great quitting, the great resignation. Why? 82% of them said because of bad leadership. Now, the good news is if you're a good leader, that's job security. The great news is if you are becoming a good leader, that's job opportunity. But today, there's a real distinct purpose for this event, this experience that you and I are having, and that is we need to live well and lead well. Before you join an organization, before you ask somebody to join your organization, there needs to be 2 questions that's asked and answered. Question number 1, what is the leadership potential of the organization I am going to be a part of? See, this is a growth potential question. Is there growth opportunity in this organization? My challenge to you that are leaders, do you have potential for people to grow inside your organization? It's a growth question. Question number 2 is, does the vision and the values of the organization match my vision and my values? John Maxwell says, values are the soul of leadership. So as you begin today, I know Bissy's going to invite you to be a part of Maxwell Leadership Team. Bissy's going to invite you to be a part of Advance going forward. I want you to answer these questions today. Is this organization, is this environment, is it a growth environment? And is it a values environment? So, what is it about living well, leading well? What is it about everyone deserves to be led well that drives you, that drives me to come together today and talk about leadership done well? I want to give you, over the next 30 minutes, I want to give you 10 things that define leadership done well. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you keep leaning in and listening, I may not get to all 10, so Bissy, you may have to invite me back next year. because there's 10 ways, there's 10 things that we do to lead well. And I may not be able to teach them all today in our time together, but I'm going to give all of them to you, and I'm going to teach you some of them. Because when we made the statement, everyone deserves to be led well, there was something that drove us. And the thing that drove us is our founder, our leader, our visionary, John Maxwell, began to say in 2018, I'm leadership sad. Now, I've got to be honest with you, the first time that I heard John Maxwell say I'm leadership sad, I went, no, you can't say that. We're a leadership organization. We have solution for good leadership. Don't be sad, be glad. Don't be discouraged, be hopeful. We have leadership done right. But what was driving John Maxwell, what began to drive me, and today what perhaps drives you, is the number of bad models of leadership. I know in America we have poor leadership models politically. Some of our country's government leaders is a poor model. We have bad models in the faith community. People that are leaders, perceived leaders in the faith community that do not show great value of people and do not show leadership done right. We have bad leaders in business, bad leaders in sports, and every stream of influence. What makes leadership sadness so real is because we live in a world where leaders are more interested in their agenda than the people's advancement. They're more passionate about their own posture, position, popularity than their own effectiveness and creating winners around them. So it drove us to ask this question: what does it mean to lead well? What is the definition of leadership done well? So I offer you these 10 things that, if done right, they will have an impact. So I'm going to give you the characteristic. I'm going to give you the definition in these 10 things, and then I'm going to give you the reward, the result, when you practice, put into practice this leadership attribute. Let's get ready. Grab your pen. Look at the person beside you and say, are you ready? No, I really want you to do that. Look at the person beside you and say, are you ready? That's good. Now look at your second choice, the person on your other side, and ask them, are you ready too? Here we go. All right, that's enough. Don't get out of hand. You ask them, are you ready? And then now let's get ready. Number one, the number one way to do leadership right, to do leadership well, is a leadership commitment. A leadership commitment that will sustain you. See, we have for all of our life, for John Maxwell's entire life, we add value to people who multiply value to others. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's what we will do in the future. We add value to people who multiply value to others. It's not who we are. It's not just what we do. It's what we will do for the rest of our life. We make decisions today based on how that will happen 70 years from now. Much of our for-profit work is all about success. Our nonprofit work is all about significance. What does that mean? Success is what happens to you. Significance is what happens through you. Many years ago, we quit trying to be the best company in the world, and we decided we wanted to be the best company for the world. Why? Because of a leadership commitment. Because we realized that for us to sustain our effectiveness, it had to be more about others than about ourselves. It had to be with a significance perspective. Perhaps you've read John's book, Change Your World. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. In that, John Maxwell decided many years ago, and he tells about it in this book, I decided I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be a leader that did something with his life that would outlive the lifespan. He said, I want to make a difference. And then he added to that. He said, I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference. I don't want to just be known for the impact that I had. I want the impact that I had to be known beyond my leadership. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference. Here's the third one. I love this. With people that want to make a difference. See, I'm going to tell you right here at Advanced Leadership Conference, you're in the room with people that have made a leadership commitment. Doesn't it feel good? Just kind of look around the table. Look around the people sitting close to you. You're in your community. That's why I could come on at the beginning of my talk today and say, hey, gang, I love you. I love you because you're my people. I want to make a difference, yes. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference, absolutely. Want to make a difference, yes. I want to make a difference doing something that makes a difference, absolutely. But there's no greater fulfillment than doing something that makes a difference with people that want to make a difference. I can tell you, I've not met many of you, But I can tell you, I could meet you in the airport. I could meet you at the next event. Maybe I can come next year to the Advanced Leadership Conference in person. But as soon as we met, we would have common connection because we want to make a difference together. We're people that want to make a difference, doing something that makes a difference with people that makes a difference. Number 4, at a time that makes a difference. See, leaders understand that if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Leaders understand that if it's going to happen, I need to be a catalyst to make it happen. You must make a leadership commitment that extends beyond the money that you will make. I'll never forget John Maxwell being offered his first $1 million gift to our nonprofit. Equip, our nonprofit, was just getting started. We wanted to make a difference around the world. We had people that wanted to make a difference. It was time to make a difference. And somebody came up and made John a commitment, said, I'm going to give you $1 million, but I need you to do something for me. I need you to quit talking about leadership and talk more about faith. And John said, oh, I'm passionate about faith. He said, no. I want your platform to be about faith and your option to be about leadership. And John said, no, I remember back in 1976 when God told me that I was supposed to focus on leadership, and that would lead to many people having faith in God. Not find people that have a passion for faith in God and maybe a few people would come to God. Leadership rises the tide of evangelism, of faith. And John looked at that potential donor and said, no, thank you, keep your $1 million. I have a commitment to leadership. Here's my question to you today. Do you have a commitment to leadership? When Bissy gives you a chance to take the next step to make your leadership better at the end of this conference, are you going to take that step? Are you going to make a commitment here and now with the people around you that I am committed to leadership because it will sustain me? Let's go to number 2. I told you I probably won't have time for all 10, but I'll give them to you. I just may not be able to teach them. Number 2, this is how we defined leadership done well. It's a leadership environment. Oh, yes. A leadership environment, and here's the results. A leadership environment that will change and challenge you. A leadership environment that will take you to the next level. It's an environment that when you step in one way, you know you will leave a different way. I've got 10 characteristics of a leadership environment, and I want to give them to you pretty quick, although I want to teach on them forever. They're extensive. They cannot be exhausted easily. A leadership environment is, one, a place where others are ahead of you. Others are ahead of you. John Maxwell says it often, hey, if you're at the top of the class, you're in the wrong class. I'm going to ask you right now, I think some of you are sitting around tables, perhaps others of you are sitting in rows. I'm going to ask you a question. Look down the row, look around the table. Are you the best person at your table? Are you the best person? Are you the smartest person on your row? Just kind of look around. Look, don't laugh, don't laugh. Don't be obvious, just kind of look around. Are you the best person at your table? Change tables. Are you the smartest person in this room at Advanced Leadership Conference? Get out of the room, because you need to be in an environment where people are ahead of you. Do me a favor, look at the person beside you and say, I'm glad you're ahead of me. Keep leading. I'm glad you're ahead of me. Keep leading. Now, I would challenge you to look to your second choice, the person on your other side, and say, I'm glad you're behind me. Keep following. But don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even look at them. Don't even look at them. Just look at the person that's ahead of you and say, keep leading. Because a leadership environment is where others are ahead of you. Number 2, a leadership environment is where you are continually challenged. I have worked with John for 23 years. I'm now the owner of our for-profit entity. I am the CEO of 7 multi-million-dollar companies. And I've got to tell you something. I am still challenged all the time. This week, I have had a challenge for the first time. As an owner, I've never had to lead the way I had to lead this week. I am constantly being challenged, even at the CEO, the president level. Number 3, a leadership environment is where your focus is forward. You're looking ahead, not behind. You're looking up, not around. There is a commitment to the future when you're in a leadership environment. It will challenge you, yes. Others are ahead of you, yes. But you are constantly looking toward the future. Number 4, a leadership environment is an atmosphere of encouragement. There's nothing like being in a room to where you feel the energy of anticipation, hope, excitement, positivity. That's what a leadership environment is. You're going to hear multiple speakers today. You're going to get to interact on breaks. And I'm going to tell you, you are going to experience the power of an atmosphere of encouragement. Number 5, a leadership environment is where you're often out of your comfort zone. In other words, you're going to be challenged to do something today that you're going to sit back and go, I don't know if I want to do that. Number 6, a leadership environment is where accountability is appreciated. Number 7, it's where failure is not final. A leadership environment encourages risk so big that failure is expected, not a surprise. Failure is appreciated, not rejected. Failure is a stepping stone, it's not final. Number 8, a leadership environment is where others are growing around you. Number 9, a leadership environment is where people desire change. They want something different. And number 10, leadership environment is where growth is modeled and expected. Doesn't it feel like you are in the middle of a leadership environment? That's what we've created here at Advanced Leadership Conference. It is a leadership environment that is designed to help you live well so that you can lead well. Let's go to another definition of leadership done well. Leadership done well, number 3, is where there is leadership skill development. Leadership skill development that will grow you. We talked about a leadership environment just now as where growth is modeled and growth is expected. That's why leadership done well always is challenging the people that want to grow. Most people want to go through life. I rally people to grow through life. I love Jim Rohn's quote. He says, you can't achieve beyond your level of development. You don't achieve goals, you grow into them. I think Jim Rohn is right. Too many people set something out as an aspiration only to find out the aspiration never happens without growth to get there. My good friend Gerald Brooks, he's a board member, he says every level of growth requires a new level of change. That's what it's all about. That's what we're talking about when we say that there is a skill development process that is required in leadership environments that will grow you. It is a commitment. It is a challenge that we all have that says, are you getting better? Are you taking advantage of growth and the skills and the commitment to growth around you? John Maxwell teaches in the 21 Laws of Leadership, the law of the lid. And the law of the lid says simply this: the higher you want to climb, the more you need leadership. The greater impact you want to make, the greater your leadership influence needs cultivating. How do you do this? What is required? Skill development. It's where everyone gets a chance to practice leadership. It's where everyone gets a chance to engage, because we believe influence is leadership, nothing more, nothing less, and everyone has influence. I could tell you about many areas that John Maxwell, in being in this environment, has helped me with my skills. Perhaps the greatest noted one, because I began to speak on the stage at the International Maxwell Conference way before I was ready. And John Maxwell began to challenge me to communicate in front of audiences before I was ready for two reasons. One, evaluated experience is the best teacher. So John wanted me on stage in the anticipation that the future I would need to be communicating on big stages. And he wanted a chance to evaluate my performance, evaluate my presentation, evaluate the productivity of my talk, so that that evaluated experience would make me better. He also wanted to do it for a second reason, so that he could show all of the people, thousands, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people, the product of skill development in communication. See, we have 48,000 certified coaches, speakers, and trainers in Maxwell Leadership. We're a speaking organization. We're a leadership organization. We're a coaching organization. And John felt like not only would him evaluating my experience on stages help me become better, he also knew that people watching the track of my improvement would model improvement and excellence with skill development to those around me. I have a long way to go to communicate like John Maxwell or like Bissy or like many others on the stage here at Advanced Leadership Conference, but here's what I can tell you. If you heard me 5 years ago communicate on stage, and as you listen to me today, and hopefully glean something out of what I share with you, there's one obvious thing you can say. I may not have done my best today. I may not have impacted as well as some other communicators today, but being committed to leadership skill development has made a better communicator. What are you doing to grow yourself? Let's go to number 4. Number 4, the fourth definition, the fourth characteristic that we have of leadership done well is a leadership example. A leadership example that will show you. A leadership example that will make you better. See, leadership is taught and caught. Most people stand on top of the stage at the front of a room and say, I'm going to teach you a great lesson, and hope that that lesson taught well will make a difference. But that's not the only part of the formula. Leadership must be taught and caught. For this leadership lesson I'm giving you today about leadership done well, for it to be good, I'm going to have to teach it well, and you, my friend, are going to have to catch it well and do something with it. See, leadership example is about exposure. Are you in an environment today that you are exposed to great leaders? We've launched many countries with country transformation and values. John did it for many, many years. Now, I go to these countries and I am able to meet with presidents and prime ministers. Why? Because I caught the leadership example of John Maxwell and now go and meet on behalf of Maxwell Leadership and see results. Do you have a leadership example? Are you providing a leadership example that will show you what leadership done well is like? I could stay here all day, because John Maxwell's impact, his example, his modeling has made me bigger and better and brighter in my leadership. It's given me hope. It's given me a model. It's given me a pathway. And today I want you to be a pathway for others. Number 5, the fifth way that we describe leadership done well is leadership values. And it's leadership values that will guide you, that will ground you, that will keep you on solid ground and make you effective for many years. See, I've watched a lot of leaders with no values succeed for a moment. But the leadership values I'm talking about will ground you and sustain you, not only for life, but for legacy. It will impact you not just to today, it'll impact you tomorrow. It'll not only impact your family and those leading you or following your leadership today, it will sustain those that follow the leaders that follow you. See, when you're founded on values, when you live out good values, when you lead from a place of value, it's generational. It is reproducing in those around you so that those you never meet still are influenced by the values you have demonstrated. How do you know if the value you're leading from is good? I believe there's one standard that must be met. It must value all people all the time in all situations. Let me say that again. If you want to have a standard fundamental value, here it is. It must value people. It must value all people all the time in all situations. You can't shortcut that. You can't rationalize that and say, well, because they did, I don't value. If and when you value people, it will be a positive impact on the people around you. Leadership values will ground you. Let's go to number 6. I'm running out of time, and I gotta hurry. Let's go to number 6. The sixth thing that we have as a definition, number 6, is a leadership team. And this is a leadership team that will complete you. It's a team that you're better because of them. You've had teammates, no doubt, that if you put them on the elevator of life, on the elevator of leadership, they always push the down button because they're going to take you to the basement. Real quickly, look around the table. You didn't bring any down button elevator riders with you today, did you? Because a real teammate, the team that completes you, will take you up. They'll help you rise in your leadership. I don't know if you've ever seen a turtle sitting on the top of a fence, or maybe you've seen the picture of a turtle on top of a fence. Here's one thing you can know, whether you've seen it, whether you have literally observed it, or whether you're just imagining it right now. When you see a turtle on top of a fence post, that turtle did not get there on his own. See, the fact is, everyone receives help to get where they are. And that's why John says teamwork makes the dream work. So if teamwork makes the dream work, what makes teamwork work? And I will tell you universally, the biggest thing of a functioning, effective, high-performing team is accountability. It's the number one trait. Groups are usually formed around common interest with a goal of interaction and sharing information, but a group has no accountability. Whereas a team that is focused on performance, they have not only individual, but they have mutual accountability. The advantage of a team that brings people together from different places, different strengths, different abilities, is the ability to hold one another accountable to pursue a common dream. Does that make sense? Let's go to number 7. I wish I could stay here longer, but I want to hit number 7 for a couple of minutes, and then I'll give you 8, 9, and 10, and Bissy will be done. Number 7, the 7th way leadership is done well is a leadership belief. A leadership belief that will inspire you. Now, I'm going to finish a story with a leadership belief, but here's what I want to tell you. We began saying years ago, everything rises and falls on leadership, and we believe that leadership can be developed. I'm talking about a leadership belief that says, yes, we may be leadership sad, but there is a way to turn the trajectory of leaders. We're leadership makers. Maxwell Leadership is committed to creating leaders that can lead well. Today, I'm committed. I'm with you today because I believe leadership done well will impact countries, will impact your life, your world, and will impact the world. We're leadership makers. We're leadership multipliers. We believe that leadership done well has a multiplication effect. It's contagious, and it will make a difference. I'll come back and finish with a story today about leadership belief that will inspire. But let me give you 8, 9, and 10 as I close today. 8 is leadership opportunities that will expand you. Oh, today here at conference, you're being given will advance you. Number 9, tools that will equip you. Tools. I mean, things that Bissy's going to talk to you about, things you can take home, commitments that you can make that will allow you to be better. I'm going to tell you, when's the last time you've read a John Maxwell book? You need to read one. When's the last time you've invested in yourself? When's the last time you've joined a team, an environment that's better? We want you to be a part of Maxwell Leadership Team. Bissy can give you much more information about that. Which leads me to number 10, leadership mentors that will guide you. Who are you following? Who are you allowing to speak to you to make you better? Who are you allowing to challenge you? I was challenged recently by my daughter. I go back to leadership beliefs that will inspire you. Because just a couple of weeks ago, I was at a daddy-daughter retreat where I spent 8 days unplugged from the world, unplugged from technology, and me and my daughter with 150 other dads and 150 other daughters, 300 of us, went on a week-long journey of discovering how to be a better dad, how to lead well at home, how to lead well as a dad. And we had a phenomenal time. On day 5, we were studying the book of James. For those of you that are people of faith, it's an incredible book in the New Testament of the Bible. And so I would study in the morning for an hour by myself while Macy studied, my daughter, would study for an hour by herself. Then we would have breakfast with our entire team of 16 dads and daughters. And then we would go off by ourselves, Macy and me, and we would reflect on what we had learned that day by ourselves. Now, real quickly, when God called me 23 years ago to be on John's team, I knew it was for life. But it was 13 years ago when I had a moment with the Lord where God told me, you need to be an Elisha to John Maxwell, the Elijah. When John is done leading, there will be a mantle that will fall from him for millions of people, thousands of people. We believe we're putting that mantle on Maxwell Leadership teammates. And so my wife, Stephanie, my daughter, Macy, we all bought into the fact that we needed to be an Elisha to John Maxwell, the Elijah. That we needed to commit our family to being available and in proximity to John Maxwell for the rest of our lives. We bought in. Not just me, but my wife, my daughter. When she was 6 years old, we made that commitment as a family. So we're at this retreat. And on day 5, the Lord showed me in James chapter 5, verses 17 and 18, that Elijah, who was a man, a human just like us, prayed that it would not rain for 3.5 years. And then at the end of 3.5 years, he prayed that it would rain, and it rained. And God gave great increase and great production, great fruit to the land that had been dry for 3.5 years. Now I'm on a daddy-daughter retreat. I'm trying to figure out how to be a better dad. And God speaks to me about our business and says, Mark Cole, it is time to pray for rain for Maxwell Leadership. It's time to pray for rain for Advanced Leadership Conference. It's time to pray for rain for every one of you that came today wanting to live well and lead well. I said, God, I wanted something for my daughter, but you're giving me something for the company. You're giving me something for Advanced Leadership. You're giving me something for the attendees here in Nigeria today. Okay, I'll share it with Macy. I shared it with my daughter, and to make a long story short, I shared it with my daughter, and I was weeping. I said, Macy, I thought I was going to have something for us today, something that would make me a better dad. She said, oh, Dad, this will make you a better dad. She said, Dad, do you know what July the 6th of 2023 is? And I said, what? She says, it's 3.5 years that you have owned Maxwell Leadership. It's 3.5 years ago that me and Mom and you joined and said, we feel like we're supposed to take this company to the next level. She said, Dad, you and I and Mom and our company have not been praying for rain, for God's blessing on the company for 3.5 years. She said, Dad, it's time we pray for rain. It's time we pray for God's provision on the company, and it's time for us to pray God's provision on the people you speak to around the globe. And so I got to tell you, I woke up this morning, Advanced Leadership Conference, and I prayed for you. I prayed for rain. I prayed for supernatural provision and God's providence in your life. Because God spoke to me through my daughter and said, it's been 3.5 years of not praying for rain. Today is the day of rain. You want to talk about leading well? You want to talk about living well? You want to talk about leadership done well? It's time for you to step up, create an environment of leadership done well, and watch rain, blessing, production, productivity that you never anticipated begin to take shape in your life and in those that you lead. Let's go lead. Let's live well. Let's lead well, because everyone deserves to be led well. Thank you, Leadership Advanced Conference. Thanks, Bissy. I hope one day soon to get to see you and hug your neck and prove to you how I started. I love you. Let's lead well together.
Wow. I think we should rise up to our feet and put our hands together. That was a powerful, 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 powerful session. Very powerful. Very powerful.